everybody, that brown bat back once again for another episode of How Do You Make It? And continuing our True 2D tutorial, this part we're going to deal with adding enemies so they don't go all over the place in the toy box. Because if you don't do it this way, I don't know of any other way to get them on the same plane that you're traveling on. There's probably another way, but this is how I figured it out. Alright, so last time we pretty much did this, right? So we can't go anywhere except straight. So I added some platforms here. Alright. Hills, trees, another bridge. You can see a red dot there. There's an enemy over there. Okay, so I'm surprised either Stitch is really strong or those Dunbrook bears, the black ones, are very, very weak. And then again, Stitch is very strong, so. We'll see how he's staying in the bounds. Tried to pick him up. And that's what we want. Is he gonna stay there? Now that was weird. Raw. Usually he's toast by now. There we go. Alright, but see how he didn't go in the background? He didn't fall off the ledge to the foreground? That is because we did this. Okay. Not only do we have our path creator and the camera, I had to add a barrier piece. Okay, and if you're going to add a barrier piece, you have to add something to make your character get defeated if he falls. So let's rip all this apart. I don't know why I exited spark mode. Let's rip all this apart and redo it from scratch. Get rid of that. And get rid of that. Okay? And we also have an enemy creator somewhere. I thought I hid it in the trees. I did. It's right over here. Okay. So what are you going to do? You're going to take your locator. Alright? So the locator's right here. And you're going to put that directly on the... Make sure it's like centered on the path creator. Wherever you want the enemy to appear. Or enemies. And so in this case we're going to do another one, right? So I'm going to put that here. Okay. Then we have our enemy generator. So I'm going to leave this one here for the bears. So I'm just going to copy it. Pick another one up. Usually, I always hide these when for a final product, but I'm just doing this for tutorials purposes. And then you want your dynamic trigger. And I would say one dynamic trigger per enemy generator and one locator per enemy generator. Okay, so new locator connection, spawn location, and then over here, new locator connection, location. Okay, and then go into the properties of the dynamic trigger. Trigger distance, I set it around 20, 21, 22, something like that. Just so the enemy has time to spawn for you to get there, otherwise you'll go right past them and then they'll be behind you. Alright, target, not this toy. Target would be locator. In this instance. Okay, and then I always go properties, right? Generation, delay, I put to 0. Disable effects on. You don't have to, you can leave it. You could have, it's worded backwards. It's like a double negative. Disable generation effects on. That means they're not going to come in and a green cloud of smoke if they're Dunbrook bears. So yeah, however you want it. Let's leave it off. Off as default. So they'll make their entrance. Unless they're stormtroopers, then it doesn't matter. They'll just show up. Hold until generated, leave that off. Team if you want. Default's off. None. Countdown, no. You can do countdown if you want. I mean, it's basic stuff. Really. The only thing I do really is just monkey with generation delay. Disable generation effects off or on. And if I'm doing a Toy Box Rumble, I'll change the team. But anyway, configure wave. So we have the Dunbrook Bears up there yonder. So what else would be in a forest full of dead trees, gravestones, and thorns? Wampas? No. Grumgar? Scolder? Yeah. No, it's Grumgar. Douten. I don't know. They didn't give us any woodland characters here. Everything's sea, robots, ocean. Let's put in Fear Tech student, I guess. Rhino. Is he a paintball player? I hate the paintball ones. I really don't hate them, but yeah, let's get rid of that. I don't want them to shoot paint at it. I don't want them to shoot paint at me. Well, here's something. Forget that. Let's put a Nikto Thug with axe. And how about some crazy hunter? Actually, he's a what is he called? Let's put the shotgun man in there. Okay. Now, new logic connection entered player any generate wave. Okay, now do you want to get all technical? Depends on how big you make this, because you don't want enemies to just stay. You could say if you want, you don't have to. Like this one right here is small enough. But if you want, you could get another one of these. Right? And then change it. Properties, trigger distance. Let's say 50. No, let's say 100. Target is going to be locator. New logic connection. Alright, if you exit player any defeat wave. Okay, then connect this to the locator. And what this will do should, in theory, because I really haven't tested it, when you enter within 22 feet, let's call it feet. That's really not feet, but let's pretend. The distance of 22, they'll spawn. If you leave that area, right, within the range of 100, they'll disappear. So if you're building a long level, they won't stay in the toy box and bog it down. Okay, so we'll test that out. Next thing we're going to want to do is build the barrier in there. Otherwise, the enemies will walk all over the place and they'll throw stuff at you if they're ranged characters and you can't beat them. So let's go back to Game Maker, stay in Platform Toys, and go to the blue barrier block, scalable block. All right. So I have the green path creator right here in the middle of the checkpoint. Probably should be in the middle of the end plate. Okay, so take this. What we're going to want to do is make it the same width as what we had the trigger area. Then we're going to take it and just go. Don't move. You know, just keep going a straight line. Don't veer off the path. Just keep going. Don't worry about your terrain levels. You know, the hills and everything. Just keep going until you get to the end of your level. Okay. Then go up. Because you know you're going to want your character to be able to super jump. The only problem is flying mechanics don't work when the camera is activated. You pretty much hover. I mean, you can fly fast, but you can't go up any higher than your character is able to jump, which is it's good sometimes, and other times it's a shame, because if you're trying to emulate Super Mario Bros. 3, tough, because you're not going to be able to do it unless you give your character a jump pack. Which I guess would be better, or would make more sense, because Mario didn't really fly until he had an item. Okay, so you have this here. You're going to want go to Properties, Collision Effect off. Otherwise, you won't be able to see your character because it'll look like that. Here, let me demonstrate. Turn it on. Default is on. This is what happens. Well, prove me wrong. Sometimes you'll see that effect. Let me get outside. The only reason I even mentioned that because it happened. Sometimes you'll see that and you won't be able to see your character. So, just in case, we're going to turn that effect off. Then what we're going to want to do is we want to be able to fall down the cliff, otherwise we'll just like walk in midair. So find the dot, the diamond. Alright, and then just go down far enough where you're gonna fall, alright? That's good. Now, you're still not gonna end your character's life, because you're gonna end up down here and get stuck. So what you're gonna do now is go get a trigger area. Okay. And then go down here. That'll do it. Alright. And then same thing, stretch it all the way to the end of the level. Don't move it up, down, just keep going straight. And this will take care of any gaps. If you don't have any holes, then you don't have to worry about this. Oops. Oh, that's good enough. I went too far, but whatever. Okay, then what we're going to need is the destroyer. The, what is it called? Kill switch. Okay. So, new logic connection entered. Any. So, bad guy or you, doesn't matter. Defeat. Okay. I think we're good to go now. And everything else was already covered in the last episode. So, Stitch, demonstrate. I just did that to go back to the checkpoint because I already had it set. Okay. Okay. All that's good. All that's good. So far, so good. Yes, yes, I know. If you're wondering how to get rid of that sign that says camera mode, just go to this. Find this. Once we find it, I'll put it down. the game maker, level maker, toy box game maker. Okay, and this is what I do in the majority of my toy boxes. All right, watch this. Properties. I usually leave it set. Okay. You can change any of these, but I usually leave it default. So watch this. New logic connection. Let's say exited because we did that for all the other connections. Player 1. Okay, start test mode. Okay. Now, we should be fine. No, we shouldn't. What happens is, if you go into test mode and you don't have a way out of test mode, it still thinks it's a game, and you won't be able to edit anything at all. So, when you start the game, before you move out of my trigger areas, you can go into Spark mode and then do whatever you need to do. But in this instance, we're going to put a failsafe in here, and that would be, let's see. See, once you're finalized, and I'm really not finalized here, but once you're finalized, I that's how I purpose to do the games, is to not have any notifications saying press to enter Spark mode, blah blah blah, or to exit camera. I don't want that to show up. I don't want to be tempted to go into Spark mode if the game's complete. If the game's complete and it's really complete, then I don't need to do that. But let's put a switch in here so we can override it if we need to. So, new logic connection pressed. Just to let you know. In some of the games, I actually hide a lever. So if you can find it, you can push it or pull it, and then you can end test mode. End test mode. Okay. All right, let's go back. Are we on the plane? All right, see how it does that? That's because I didn't properly go into the, see it's shaking? All right, we got to get to that. We're in test mode though. So I can't go to the spark button. All right, let's use this. All right, we ended it. Okay. What happened was I didn't properly start on the end plate and activate. I got stuck in there when I exited Spark mode. It's hard to explain. So once you set your checkpoint, if you have that issue, right? You have your checkpoint set, just jump off. Now you're back and everything's all good. Right? It's in test mode. Everything's good. Everything's fine. All right, so let's see if we can activate some enemies. Okay, I should have put it to like 30. So let's change that to 30. Because see how... see how they spawned in after Stitch, because he's pretty fast. They spawn in after I passed them. So let's find it here. And it's this one right here. Properties, trigger distance, let's say 32. And we'll do the same thing with the bears. Properties, trigger, 32, 33, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, now, go back to our checkpoint. All right. I have no idea why every time I start, I have the Karnov music set in my mind. I don't know why. I haven't played that game in years. Like, longer than some of you have been alive. Still, alright. Alright. For some reason, I gotta turn my TV down. I forgot to. For some reason, they're spawning in too late. Okay. Oh, we gotta push this button first. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's because the bears didn't... Here, let's do this. Reset gameplay. Yes, I'm sure. The only problem with the reset gameplay... Oh, hold on. Push that button again. If you have townspeople or cars or stuff like that, it'll erase all your townspeople. That's the only problem, and I didn't have any townspeople in here, so I just did that to... Oops, wrong one. Reset the enemies. Properties. Trigger distance 50? 55? Let's try that. And it could be because I have more than one coming out. I don't know. Oh, you know what it is? It's because I left the animation on. Properties. Remember I said, oh, we'll leave that off? Let's turn that, let's disable it. So let's turn the effects off, and maybe then they'll come in quicker. Keep in mind also, I did change that to 55. Alright, let's go back to our checkpoint. Oops, I spawned the bears, didn't I? Spawned somebody. Oh, it was the cowboys. Okay, so they're done. Because I went out of bounds, so they disappeared. Okay, let's start this again. Stitch, go! And you can put a timer on this. See, now they're there. Yeah, so you want to disable that generation effect, otherwise it might take them a while to get in. But 50 seems good, right? And 100 for them to disappear. You don't have to fight them. Unless you want them out of the way. So they're done. And they will spawn back in if you go back. Whoa. See, the cowboys came back. Now the cowboys are gone. So they went out of bounds. See? Which is a good rule of thumb. I guess half... If you're going to do 50 for the entrance, do double it for 100 on the exit. Just to give you enough time so they're not disappearing while you're fighting them. Now, here's the other thing, though. If you are fighting them and they follow you, that's a problem. If they follow you and then you're fighting them and you lure them, you know, if there's no cliff here and you lure them out a ways, let's see if we can get it to happen. That is a problem. Because then they'll disappear while you're fighting them. So, if that's an issue, leave them in the toy box and don't build your toy box so big, I guess. Alright, see, watch. See if we can get them to follow you. Then again, I've played games where the enemies disappeared on me because of that. So these guys are being good, okay. They're playing by the rules. They're They're pretty much staying where they should stay. So I guess you don't have to worry about it. Maybe the stormtroopers would break it, but they're staying pretty much where they should be. Now, will you ever have it where an enemy breaks out of that blue barrier? Yes. It depends, like if you, I don't know, put too many enemies in the toy box, you might have that problem. Sometimes the game decides to glitch on you. I don't know. I don't know how to judge when it's going to happen or when it's not. But it does happen. So just be aware of that. They didn't perfect this. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, because this is the best way I can explain it. So, if you would be so kind to leave me a thumbs up, I'd be ever so grateful. And this has been That Brown Bat and Stitch, and that's how you make it. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, smash that like button. And guess what? There's even more. Click on any of these boxes to view more awesome stuff. And don't forget to click that big subscribe button so you can be notified of all my upcoming videos. And again, I want to thank you for watching. This has been That Brown Bat signing off. CIAO.